Hi there, I'm Namish Patel Owen, and you're listening to Live Your True Self, episode number 74. After 18 years doing corporate, in 2018, it became about doing me, doing what I love. Not that long ago, I too felt a deep desire to be something more, asking myself, who am I anyway, and what's my purpose? Full of self-doubt and fear of failure, fast forward to this moment and you'll see a version of me that's true to myself, calm, confident and clearer than ever before, despite the drama. Inspired by Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, one must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So perspective is everything. No matter where you are on your personal growth journey as a high achiever, I'm here to guide you. Together, we'll step out of your head, the busyness in your mind, and drop into your heart, the space where lasting transformation begins, so that you too can awaken your true self and live life more meaningfully in this moment, even in the messiness. Take a deep breath and listen on in. Hello, my lovely. Welcome back to Live Your True Self podcast. I hope you're well. How has your week been? I hope it's all good. Today we're diving into something that might feel small, but can have a huge impact on how you show up in your life. And that's the power of pausing. And this is something that came up in a coaching session with one of my clients recently. And I had to share it here on the podcast because it's so relatable. She told me she didn't want to be on autopilot all the time and wanted to intentionally transition between roles without feeling overwhelmed and actually have a moment to check in with herself. Sound familiar? I think we've all been there, going from one thing to the next without really thinking about how we're showing up and without actually letting go of a previous role or hat or circumstance or situation that you're in and kind of transitioning into the next thing that you're going into. And in our conversation, we talked about how pausing, even just for a few seconds or a few minutes, can help us shift gears intentionally. And whether that's transitioning from work mode to home mode or vice versa, or just taking a breath between tasks, pausing allows us to reconnect with who we want to be in that moment and really check in with yourself in terms of what's happening in your mind and what's happening in your body. And I've done various podcasts and it's something I talk about a lot in terms of noticing what is happening within, because whatever is happening within is what you're radiating outside, right? Your internal state reflects your outer state. And when you pause, you give yourself the gift of presence. And that presence is where your power lies, right? Grounding yourself back into the present moment is what you have and where you can make a difference to what's happening next. And you can only do that from the present moment. So you have to ground yourself and you have to give yourself the gift of presence. And that comes from pausing and noticing and intentionally choosing how you want to be no matter what you're experiencing. So today we'll explore what you need to think, why it's so important in relation to pausing, and some simple, practical ways to bring the power of pausing into your day and into your life. So let's dive in. So here's how I think about it, and here's how I would invite you to think about it. As you transition from one role to another, here are a couple of useful questions you can ask yourself that would help you tune into some intentional thinking. So you can ask yourself, what state am I in right now? Physically, mentally, emotionally, right? What state am I in right now? Just pausing and asking yourself that question. And you might even ask yourself, what's happening inside of me, right? What's happening inside of me? What's happening inside my body? What's happening in my mind? What am I feeling? And just in that split second, see what comes up for you. And genuinely, it does not have to be for a long period of time. You're literally just doing a little check-in of what state am I in right now. It could be one word response. It could be a sentence. And just notice and accept, like zero judgment. That's just how you're feeling. Or that's just what's happening inside your body, inside your mind, like zero judgment. Then you might ask yourself, how do I want to feel as I step into this next moment or my next role or duty? Right? How do I want to feel? And then you might ask, who do I want to be for the person or people I'm about to connect with? So again, as you're transitioning from one role to the next, ask yourself, who do I want to be for the person or people I'm about to connect with? And again, what you're doing is being intentional about who you want to be. And you're actually bringing that up in your body so that you can take that forward with you. And so this is what I would invite you to think. By asking these questions, you are going to come up with those kind of thoughts and awareness to help you go forward. And these questions will help you shift from running on autopilot to showing up with clarity and purpose and intention, and really kind of release and break free from anything that doesn't serve you. Now, if you're on a high and feeling all good and confident, excited and joyful and grateful and all the things, like 100%, like carry on, take that with you. But this is really about helping you transition from role to role to really invite presence and noticing who you are and who you want to be. And you just get to shift that, or you get to amplify anything that is obviously it is serving you. So why is this important? Well, this is important because when we rush around from one thing to the next without pausing, we carry the energy of the last activity into the next. And again, what I'm talking about here is that unwanted energy. And so like stress from work can sometimes spill over into home life or family time, or with your friends in your own personal time, or frustrations at home or in personal life can follow you into work. And like literally you end up carrying this unwanted energy around with you from one role to the next. Pausing gives you a moment to reset, so you don't bring unnecessary baggage into spaces that deserve your full presence and allowing you to to showcase the best of yourself. You know, when you're carrying that unwanted energy, it's so much harder to tune into your confidence and your gratitude and your appreciation and your belief and your, assertiveness and, who you want to be in any given moment. But pausing isn't just a gift for others. It's for you too, right? It helps you reconnect with yourself and helps you reduce overwhelm and helps you increase your capacity to respond instead of react. So when you're pausing and reconnecting with your true self and a place of inner calm and groundedness and balance, you increase the capacity to be able to see things as they are and not worse than they are, so that you can respond instead of react. And this is such an important point, and I'll say it honestly and from my heart, this wasn't something I even realized myself or really knew about until I was forced to slow down and had no choice but to take time to pause and really notice what was happening inside my mind and body and really take a moment to ground in the present moment. But here's the thing, you don't have to wait until you have to pause. Don't wait until you have to pause. You get to pause throughout your day, no matter what's happening, right? No matter how you're feeling, you get to notice how you're feeling, honor how you're feeling, right? This isn't about resisting it or pushing it away or avoiding it. Notice how you're feeling, allow yourself to feel that, but also intentionally choose another feeling to step into too. You can hold space for helpful feelings and not so helpful feeling, useful feelings, what you want to be feeling, and sometimes those harder, heavier feelings. You get to feel both. But the key thing is where you're taking action from. Right? Who are you choosing to be? What energy are you leaning into? What feeling are you leaning into as you step into a new role or a new situation or activity? And this is the art of living with awareness and intention. And it is gold, right? Choosing to create moments of mindfulness that allow you to reset, refocus, and show up as who you want to be, right? Who you truly are, and really tapping into your goodness and your best self in the next thing that you're about to do and be. So that is why this is so, so important. So here are some ways to pause and shift mindfully and intentionally between roles. And these are all things that I have practiced, and certainly that work for me. And it's something that I have shared with some of my clients when we've had conversations related to this kind of thing. So what I would say is see what resonates with you, take what serves you, leave the rest, explore, give it a go, find what feels good for you, and literally leave the rest. Because either way, transitioning from one role to another, as I say, whether that's home mode to work mode, vice versa, and even task to task or activity to activity, it can feel like a whirlwind. But a simple pause can help you reset and step into that next moment with so much more clarity and intention and purpose. So even if you do one of these things, 100% do it with an openness and a willingness to see what can come from it, and just notice how it feels for you as you practice these like intentional and mindful activity. So like even doing a mindful activity, you get to notice how it feels. So it's a bit circular, but like see how it lands for you. So here are some practical ways to make these transitions more intentional. Number 1, pause and breathe. Do not underestimate the power of a breath and the power of a deep breath. So before you leave your desk or walk through the door at home, take a moment to ground yourself and pause and check in with yourself with the power of a breath. And you could simply try inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and exhaling for 6 counts. Right, let's just do that now. Right, breathe in for 4, hold at the top, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, and you can just breathe from your belly, like breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out, like exhale fully out of your mouth, releasing everything. One intentional breath like that is just amazing. And if you do 3, just the bonus, right? 3 deep breaths can help you let go of the tension from your day or an activity or a situation or a circumstance and prepare you for the next. And like, just notice how even that breath can just sink, allow your shoulders to just loosen and lighten, and like you just sink into your body that much more. You just ground yourself. So number 1, pause and breathe. Like any moment you get, take a deep breath. For me, sometimes or often, as I pop to the loo, I always, after I've been to the loo, I always just take a couple of deep breaths and ground myself before going back to whatever it is I was doing. So maybe you can practice it, like every time you go to the loo, but certainly as you transition roles. Number 2, set a simple intention. So you could use a mantra or a phrase to guide your energy as you transition. For example, you could say something like, I release what was and I step into what's next with calm and presence. I release what was and I step into what's next with calm and presence. And like, find the words that feel good for you. But it's just a simple mantra or a phrase that allows you to, tune into that thinking where you intentionally and actively, break the cycle of where you were or where you are going next. Or you could imagine yourself stepping through an invisible doorway, leaving behind the stress or busyness of one role and stepping fully into the next with a smile. And sometimes I do this when I'm away from home and I imagine like walking through my front door, leaving behind the busyness or the worry or tension, whatever it was, and like just allowing myself to step into my front door with a smile, letting go of what is, with sort of excitement and gratitude for being home, being safe, and seeing my family. So set a simple intention, again, mantra or some sort of practice, whatever works for you. Number 3, move to reset. And I love this one. This is such a big one. This has played such a big part for me. Shake off the previous activity. Literally shake it off. Stand, stretch, go for a quick walk, like anything to reset your body's energy. Because I strongly believe when you move your body, you move your mind. And I love this because it's a physical signal to your brain and body that you're shifting gears. And movement in your body, like when you move your body, your mindset shifts. Like you just activate, like the surge that you feel in your body is so real and something that you can really connect to. And if you have more time, you could, do a workout, you could have a yoga session, or even a short meditation or a longer walk, connect with nature, like really tune into smells and listening to the birds, like whatever it is for you, like really allowing yourself to move your body and feel that shift then in your mind in order to reset. And you could literally it's like pressing a reset button, albeit you're moving your body in order to press that reset button. So 100% find some sort of movement. And sometimes I'll say it to the kids, just do 5-star jumps, do a press up, whatever works for you. Move your body, and I promise you will feel a shift as a reset. Number 4, practice intentional thinking. Practice intentional thinking is about bringing to mind something you're grateful for or proud of from your day so far, or from the activity that you've just completed. And this again allows you to really activate that part of your brain where you see the good. Or you could focus on what you have done, what you have accomplished, instead of what's left on your to-do list. So for example, if you're driving home, before you get home, really allow yourself to indulge in what you have done and completed and accomplished and achieved, and let go of the rest. Just focus on that, because that will make you feel good, make you feel proud about yourself. And the positive and intentional focus, really focusing on the good, fuels how you show up next. So again, that's what you want to take with you, because you will feel good about yourself, versus focusing on, I've still got this to do, I've still got that to do, I didn't get this done, I should have done that. Just notice such a shift in energy when your brain is focused on the good stuff and that positive and intentional focus versus, what you haven't done. So practice intentional thinking. Number 5, create a personal, I want to say ritual. Create a personal ritual, or it's like a go-to. And this is building a small habit that signals a transition. And this is really useful, particularly for me, when I'm working from home, and during work time, something that I do is that I wear indoor work shoes, work trainers that I have, and they're only just worn indoors. And I use them during work time, and I wear them during work time. And once I'm done, I swap into my comfy slippers to shift into home mode and mum mode. And that is my cue. It's I am done, and a transition has happened. And it's what I'm wearing on my feet. And I mean, perhaps it could be wearing a certain item of clothing, And I know, again, something that I spoke about with my client is like what you wear at work, like work clothes versus home clothes. And, like just getting changed into like comfy clothes signals a change and a transition to home mode. Again, as I say, if you're working from home, but the same can be true. Like if you're working away and then you come home, similarly, that could be a personal ritual that you might create. Other ideas can include playing a favorite song, or clearing your desk and setting it up in terms of sort of shutting down, end of day, ready for the next day, or even like some sort of intentional mindful activity like sipping on a transition cup of tea, or a journal practice or reflection, to really signal a shift in your energy. And perhaps if you're having a transition cup of tea, perhaps whilst you're doing that, you might reflect on a good moment from your day and capture any reminders for tomorrow to free your mind. So whatever it is, create a personal ritual that helps you transition from activity to activity or role to role, whatever that might be. And again, experiment, have fun. Like, it literally could be anything, but something that really works for you, that really signals the change. And I guess I would invite you to notice what's happening in your body for it to really resonate for you, where you actually do let go of the past and ground into the present to inform what you're about to go into next, right? So really notice if the thing that you're doing is helping you transition. If it's not, then that's also fine. Just notice that it's maybe not your thing and try something else. Like, just experiment with it. The last one, number 6, is visualize who you want to be. Right? Visualize your best self, your intentional self, who you want to be. Take a moment to picture how you'd like to show up in your next role, right? Your next duty, what you're going into, despite what your day or your experience has been so far. So again, if you're heading home, imagine yourself walking through the door as the calm, kind, present, loving version of yourself, ready to connect with your family, your friends, whoever it might be, in a way that they, and more importantly, you deserve. And I like to call this finding my easy breezy energy, right? Just be easy breezy, which is about, like just tuning into this element of release and lightness and finding the true you. And sometimes that's just tuning into, and sometimes I tune into that by finding a smile, something I'm grateful for, or, hand on your heart, take a deep breath, whatever it might be, but just find this easy breezy energy by visualizing that version of you. So they are some practical ways to make those transitions way more intentional. And, these are small practices, but super powerful. And yes, they require effort, and you have to, be intentional about what you want to be doing. But I promise you, they will help you pause, reset, and show up as your true self in every role. So which one are you excited to try today, right? What resonated for you as I shared some of those things? As I've said already, like, explore, try them out, have fun with them, make it light and easy, right? You don't have to do all of them. I've just given you some ideas. Find what feels good for you. Find what works for you. Notice how you feel when you are doing these little transition practices, and know that, they are seconds, if not minutes, as you transition. But if you do have more time, then give yourself more time. That's also fine. Sometimes when I am picking up the children, it's a little bit just in time, as I transition from work to home, as I go pick up my little one. But sometimes I've got a little bit more time, so I might consciously finish a little bit earlier to give myself a bit more time to reflect and maybe journal, maybe cook, so I'll do some mindful cooking and be prepared, which also helps me transition as I step into my next role. So depending on how long you've got, it could be seconds, it could be a few minutes, it could be longer. It could be different on different days. All is open and all is good. Just give it a go to really help you transition. And know that pausing doesn't mean slowing down your life. I know how it feels being a high achiever. We are go, 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 go. There are so many things to do, and there's always things to do, and that's okay, right? Pausing doesn't mean we're slowing down. It means we're stepping into it with intention, right? We're stepping into life with way more intention and being in our lives more purposefully, in a way that showcases the best of who we are, versus being on autopilot, which we know how that feels, right? I know you know how that feels. I certainly do. And there is such a stark difference from being on autopilot versus being intentional. And that comes from pausing, the power of the pause. Genuinely, you cannot underestimate it. And as I said, practice number 1, it can come from just one intentional deep belly breath. And you can do that anywhere, anytime, as many times as you want in your day. So there is no excuses for allowing yourself to pause. And let me just say, when you take that brief moment to pause, reflect, and align with yourself, you invite and you empower yourself to be the best version of you in every role that you play. No matter how you're feeling, you show up from a place that is so much more thoughtful and so much more intentional and purposeful, which, as I say, makes you feel good, which makes others feel good. And that is who you are. So thank you for tuning into another episode of Live Your True Self. And remember, you may not always control what happens as you transition through your day, but you can absolutely control how you show up in each moment. So let me invite you to pause, breathe, and intentionally choose who you want to be to inform your next best move. Until next time, keep shining your light, and may you always live your true self. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. If you want to learn more about my work and how I can support you, come visit me at namishapatelowen.com and be sure to sign up for my weekly email to receive more mindset insights. It's an honor to continue serving you on your growth journey. Bye for now.